At my mom's birthday, my brother said, "You'll die alone." Seconds later, I exposed every dollar I'd given him and walked out while the room went silent. Hey Reddit, I'm Mark, 32M. I guess you could say I'm the invisible sibling. I don't have a wife or kids. Not because I can't. I've just been more focused on my career, settling my finances, and planning for the future. I've got a solid job in tech, no debt, and enough savings to feel secure. Still, that doesn't seem to matter to my family. They think your worth is all about having kids and playing the picture-perfect family role, which is what my younger brother, Kyle, 29M, has going for him. He got married young, has 2 kids, and a big personality. My parents basically idolize him, calling him responsible, even though he's jumped from job to job, missed bills, and leaned on me for support more times than I can remember. He and his wife love showcasing their perfect family life online, but behind the scenes, I'm the one covering his rent, car payments, and emergencies, thousands over the years. And you know what? I've never complained. I figured that's just what family does. Maybe one day Kyle would finally get it together. Spoiler alert, he hasn't. Last weekend was the last straw. We went to my mom's for her birthday, just a casual family dinner. I brought flowers, a bottle of wine, and even covered most of the catering bill since Mom hinted money was a bit tight. So we're halfway through the meal when Kyle strolls in late, acting like he's the star of the show. He gives me a high five and loudly says, "So, Mark, where's your wife and kids?" Oh wait, you don't have any. The room erupts in laughter. My mom's cackling away, Dad's chuckling while sipping his drink, and my sister-in-law is smirking. It wasn't just playful teasing. It felt like a real jab meant to put me down. Normally, I just brush it aside and act like it didn't bother me, but not this time. I stared at him for a moment as the laughter slowly faded away. Then I got up, feeling calm yet assertive, and shot back with, "Great question, Kyle. And where's your money?" "Oh right. You don't have any because I've been quietly supporting you all these years. And that ends today." It was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Forks froze in midair. My mom's smile vanished. My dad almost choked on his drink. And Kyle looked at me wide-eyed like the ground had just shifted. That was the first time in years I didn't back down. The first time I revealed the truth. What happened next was total chaos. The silence hung heavier than I had expected. My mom was the first to break it. "Mark," she said sharply, "that's not funny. Don't ruin your mother's birthday with nonsense." I didn't sit back down. Instead, I pulled out my phone, scrolled through it a bit, and placed it face up on the table. I had all the bank transfers, Venmo payments, even screenshots of Kyle asking for money, all neatly organized in a folder I had kept for months. "Is this nonsense too?" I asked quietly. My dad leaned over, squinting at the screen while my mom turned pale. Kyle stammered, "Dude, that was supposed to be private. You're making me look bad." I cut in. "Private? You've made me look like a fool for years. You come here mocking me for not having a family when the only reason your family is even afloat is because I've been covering your bills." My mom tried to jump in. "He's your brother. Families help each other." I snapped back. "No, families don't use one sibling as a piggy bank and then laugh at him for being single. Families don't forget who covered the last 3 holidays. Families don't humiliate the one person who's been holding everything together." Kyle's wife, who had been quiet till then, muttered, "This is so unnecessary. You're just jealous of us." That made me laugh. Jealous of what? Living paycheck to paycheck? Watching your kids eat because I covered the groceries? Yeah, I'm totally green with envy. The room fell silent again, except for the sound of my dad's fork clinking on his plate. He looked furious, not at me, but because his image of a perfect family was crumbling right there in front of everyone. Finally, Kyle pushed his chair back, his face red. "Fine. If you want to cut me off, go ahead. But don't act like you're better than me just because you have money. You'll regret this." I leaned in, speaking softly but loud enough for everyone to catch it. "No, Kyle. The only thing I regret is letting this go on for so long." I slipped my phone back into my pocket, grabbed my jacket, and said to my mom, "Happy birthday," and then I walked out. But the night was far from over. My phone started blowing up with messages. By the time I got home, it was buzzing nonstop. I set it down on the counter, cracked open a beer, and let it ring. But after the 10th call, I couldn't help but check it out. The first voicemail was from Mom. "Mark, I don't know what's gotten into you, but you embarrassed your brother and me in front of everyone. You owe me an apology." Next up was Dad, sounding really low and angry. "You've got some nerve airing family issues at your mother's birthday dinner. If this is how you're going to act, maybe it's best if you just don't come around." Then the texts started rolling in. Oh man, the texts. Kyle's message read, "Real mature, bro. You're pathetic and just a jealous loser. Don't worry, we'll manage just fine without you." 2 minutes later, another popped up. "Actually, can you spot me $200 until Friday? The daycare is demanding payment." I laughed so hard I almost spilled my beer. The audacity. Then the group chat blew up. My aunt texted, "Mark, what you did was cruel. Your brother has kids to think about. You don't. Of course, you should help him out." Another cousin added, "Honestly, you've always been too prideful. Kyle might mess up, but at least he has a family. You wouldn't get it." I didn't reply to any of that. I just muted the chat and went to bed. The next morning, it got even worse. Mom showed up at my apartment unexpectedly. She never does that. When I opened the door to see her standing there with a Tupperware of leftovers, I knew it wasn't a friendly visit. She walked in without asking, placed the food on the counter and said, "Mark, you need to fix this. Kyle is devastated, and his wife is humiliated. You're tearing this family apart." I stayed calm. "Mom, I didn't tear anything apart. I just stopped playing along." Big difference. Her expression hardened. "Do you want to be alone forever? No wife, no kids, no family. Because that's where this attitude will take you." That one hit harder than I wanted it to, but I didn't show it. I leaned against the counter, crossed my arms and said, "If being in this family means I get mocked, used, and laughed at while I foot the bills, then yeah, I'll take a loan." She fell silent. I thought maybe it got through to her. But then she sighed, shook her head and said, "One day, you'll regret this. Money doesn't keep you warm at night." I watched her leave with her Tupperware, but I knew something had shifted. For the first time, I wasn't the one feeling guilty. They were. Of course, that didn't stop the storm that followed. Reality hit hard once I cut them off. By midweek, Kyle was already spiraling. He texted me a mix of insults and desperate requests. "You think you're so high and mighty just because you've got money." Then 10 minutes later, "Look man, can you just cover the daycare? They won't let the kids in Monday unless I pay the balance." I left him on read. Friday night, Dad called, his voice sharp. "Your brother's struggling. You don't just walk away from family. A real man doesn't abandon his blood." I nearly chuckled when I told Dad, "A real man takes care of his family instead of living off others." Then I hung up. That weekend, everything really blew up. Kyle started contacting other family members. My aunt called me, crying, saying, "Mark, he asked me for $1,000. I thought he just needed a bit of help, but was it really you all along?" I replied matter-of-factly, "Yep, and I'm done with it." News spread fast. Even cousins who used to defend Kyle began to connect the dots. Late payments, never-ending emergencies, and those holidays that always seemed to be covered by someone else. Suddenly, I wasn't the bad guy. Kyle was. His wife didn't handle it well, posting a snarky rant on Facebook about how sad it is when people without families try to ruin others' happiness. The comments turned brutal. Is it ruining happiness or just not bankrolling poor choices? Didn't he just lose his third job last year? She took it down within an hour. Then, 2 weeks later, Mom called me. This time, she wasn't angry but sounded small. "Mark, your dad and I are struggling with the mortgage. We thought Kyle was managing, but..." I interrupted her. "No, Mom. I'm not your safety net anymore." There was a silence. Then she whispered, "So you'll just let us struggle?" I shut my eyes but kept my voice steady. "I'll let you take responsibility for once. Maybe then you'll see how much I've been carrying all these years." She didn't argue, just hung up. That was the turning point. In the months that followed, Kyle's golden reputation fell apart. He sold his car, his wife started working more, and they had to pull their kids out of that fancy daycare they'd been boasting about. My parents even canceled their annual vacation for the first time in 10 years. Those family dinners and birthday parties I used to fund, they stopped happening. As for me, I kept working and saving. For the first time in ages, I wasn't anxiously waiting for the next emergency text. I wasn't the ghost in my own family anymore. I felt free. 3 months later, I'm in the best place I've been in years. I finally booked that trip to Europe I'd been postponing. I joined a local hiking club and even started dating again. What a novel idea, enjoying my life rather than just financing everyone else's. As for the family drama, it's complicated. Kyle hasn't talked to me since. I hear from cousins that he's juggling side jobs and still struggling with debt. His wife apparently blames me for leaving them high and dry. I don't feel guilty, though. They had plenty of chances to change and chose not to. My parents seem quieter now. I think they're finally waking up to reality, even if they won't admit it. Mom occasionally texts something simple like, "Hope you're doing well," with no guilt trips or demands. Dad hasn't called since that night. Strangely, some relatives who once judged me for not having a family now treat me differently. My aunt, the one Kyle tried to squeeze money from, actually apologized. "I didn't realize you were carrying so much. I was wrong." And my grandma, bless her, told me something that really hit home. "You've always been the strong one, Mark. Sometimes strength means saying yes, but sometimes it means finally saying no." So yeah, I said no. And it was the best choice I ever made. If you're reading this and feel trapped in that cycle of being the family's ATM or the fixer, take it from me. The moment you stop funding them, you'll finally see who they really are, and you'll get your life back.